Well, Tesla shares are rallying at a breakneck pace and showing no signs of slowing down. The stock was up almost 20% yesterday. Today, it's up another 15%. It's been gaining steam even, and all this with no apparent catalyst for the gains. Joining us now with more is Yahoo Finance's Dan Howley and Pras Subramanian. Pras, I want to start with you because I know you track Tesla closely. What the heck is going on?
I mean, the thing is, like you said, no news, right? Stock going parabolic here. We had that great quarter, was it last week or so? The price is something, is it disconnect from reality? Analysts trying to catch up. They're trying to say, hey, you know what? It's gone up too far, too fast. Nothing new, but we had good news earlier. I just have to wonder about a stock that, it's going to make maybe $8 in EPS next year. That's not bad. But that's 100 times forward earnings, right? So, where are we exactly with the company?
Well, where are we? We had Galileo, who was on the show earlier, and then back in December said this would be a $1 trillion company at some point. The question is when, and they still haven't had four consecutive quarters of positive earnings. They're not even in the S&P 500 yet.
But I think you're right about that big bet. It's the next 10 years, right? Ron Barron today making that point about $1 trillion in revenue, right, in 10 years, right? It's about the batteries, it's about the mobility, robo-taxis, in addition to the cars. That's
not about any of that stuff. This is smoke.
I know. I'm just saying you can't really traditionally value.
Do they have anything truly proprietary that, say, Rivian doesn't have, that VW and Ford won't be putting into their electric vehicles?
Elon Musk.
Speaking of smoke.
There's some volatility.
Julie, you're getting at the fact that the stock is going bonkers for no reason, right? You don't know what's going on. Is it a short sale? Is it there's not a supplier? Are institutions just hoarding the stock? Like, what is going on exactly? Right?
I want to put some numbers around the short sales for a moment, all right? Because the Wall Street Journal today cited the analytics from S3 Partners as saying that short positions on Tesla dropped by a record $5.8 billion in January. That's because they were getting squeezed. They had to close out because the stock kept going up. However, there's still $14 billion in short interest against Tesla. It's one of the most shorted U.S. traded companies. Actually, it's the most shorted U.S. traded company, again, according to that S3 Partners. So undoubtedly, that's at least part of the upward move.
I just think it's really interesting to see these kinds of gains, even though, again, nothing has fundamentally changed out of the news from the company. And it's still a company that doesn't have all the vehicles out that it's announced. We're still waiting for the Y. We're still waiting for, the Cybertruck. Obviously, it'll be, 2021, I think it's going to hit the market. So it's still not at full potential as far as what's being offered currently. What then is pushing this? Pras is right. Future is all about the batteries, the power storage, the generation. That's really where the company is going to make its bones down the line. But as far as the cars go, in my opinion, the Model S, that's long in the tooth as far as design goes. I think once a certain segment of the population gets its hands on it, they're going to get bored of it. And then when do they start retooling these vehicles, right? Other car manufacturers retool their offerings. Well,
Model Y coming out sooner than we thought. But back to the share price, one thing that really caught my eye was the Main Street angle, right? So Robinhood said yesterday that 4,000 people on their platform bought Tesla for the first time over $700, right? Huh. So is Main Street catching up to the fact that we like the cars and like the stock too? Or is that your time to pull the ripcord and sell, right? Because if Main Street's on board, are they too late, right? So I thought that was really interesting, like that is happening now with retail investors.
Quick question.
Yeah.
You drive a lot of cars.
Yes.
What is the coolest electric car you've driven? Is it indeed a Tesla?
We reviewed a couple like the Jaguar I-Pace and things like that, but the Tesla is still the coolest car on the road. Just based on the sort of like your interaction with the Model 3, just that big touchscreen, that's it, right? The battery technology is just next level in terms of efficiency, and the cars drive great. So I really got to hand it to Elon in that regard. The cars are great. Now, whether
is it worth?
Yeah, exactly. That is something that I can't explain, and that's, I guess, the bottom line.
We're going to leave it at that, but we're going to be talking Tesla a whole lot more.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.